I am drinking this really good green tea. Hi, Squishy. Hey, hey, Sharaz, you're here. Another ENFP. Try Guy is my boyfriend. He's my squishy. He's everything. He's perfect. Now you guys get to meet each other, virtual people. Yes, make friendships. Do the thing. Become friends. And you can tell I'm squinting because I have my glasses on. I want to look cute, so I'm not going to put my glasses on. That's a me problem. Ta-da! Oh, I mean, I will wear my. I know. You're right. I would get a headache. That's not me being very smart here. Not very. Yeah, you. You're my headache, my squishy. Thank you. Like that actually. When you said that, I look adorable. Like I felt a rush. It was like whoop. It actually made me feel good. Thanks. I thrive off praise. Then feels good. Okay, so uh, for my four viewers, okay, I'll keep them on. I'm gonna talk about one of my values is knowledge is empowering, and a society that is informed is empowered, makes better decisions, and that means we also stop harming each other when we make poor decisions or misinformed decisions in relationships. And this is not to make anyone feel bad. I think information is always opportunity for us to pause, to reflect, and to grow. Just be better versions of ourselves and be accountable for the things that we do. And also have compassion for ourselves when things in relationships don't always go the best way. And so I tried to make this one a little silly, a little light, but this is a very serious topic when it goes to the extreme. So the topic today is a push-pull type of relationship. And it's a little dramatic sometimes, but I think that people can learn a lot or at least feel validated when something like this is just externalized. So it's not inside of you only. Because sometimes when you have a relationship and you're like, am I crazy? Like, is this really happening? Because if I explain it, will other people understand? And so I'll share this real type of dynamic, and you can maybe feel more validated that yes, this is a thing, it happens, and what you choose to do with information is up to you. It's like kind of reminds me of like The Matrix, one of my favorite movies. You either choose the red pill or blue pill, right? You choose what you want to do next. You can go back to sleep, go back to the Matrix, or you can take that leap of faith to try something different, which is really scary but empowering at the same time. So the push-pull relationship pattern. So again, this is just for informational purposes. If there is trauma involved, that there is a component of dysregulation, that I really encourage you to find a somatic trauma-informed therapist to help you work through that. I'm just going to say this in terms of generalizations, okay? Because of prolonged rejection, because I'm leaning it towards sensitive people. Like I mentioned last time, if you're an orchid in this world of dandelions, your nervous system may be more sensitive. You may seek external validation in the relationships that you have. So my identity is shaped by the things that I do, shaped by the accolades and the diplomas and degrees, all the things that are outside of me. My value is that way. And a lot of us tend to do this. People who are hyper successful, it's this constant chasing of, I need more to feel important. I need more to feel worthy. I need to be super achieving, highly successful, or else I'm not important, or I don't deserve love, or whatever it is you equate with being successful. And the same thing for sensitive people. We have a different reason, but there's a lot of people who do the external validation for whatever reason that we have. And I just want to name it because it might help us feel like, oh, it's a thing, and I'm not alone here. It's true. It could be. I think that's backwards for me. I'm a dandelion in a world. Really? Oh, that's neat. I actually admire you for being able to thrive and adapt. That's really a strength to be a dandelion. Good for you. Like, you have strengthened nervous system. Let's go. So a sense of self could have been shaped by early experiences or major relational ruptures. That's a therapeutic psychological term that correlate personal worth with validation. So how others see me is internalized as my value. If people don't understand me, I am worthless. That could potentially be a theme that sensitive, misunderstood people could be living through over and over again. The levels to the statement are interesting. It is. It could be very interesting. So over time, it can create resentment and big explosions when the sensitive person feels sad, overgiving, and not receiving care or attention. So it creates this push-pull dynamic where couples or relationships are swinging in extremes of love or intense conflict with no middle ground. So now that I said that, you kind of get a picture. I'm sure some type of relationship model, someone that you know, maybe your own relationship in your life or some observation, you have that textbook person that you're thinking about now. Yes, they're so dramatic. They push pull all the time. They break up, they get back together. One person leaves when there's a conflict, comes back when they're done. Like there's a lot of push pulling that happens when you start looking for different types of patterns. And it's not just conflict. It could be in your life in general. You could be going towards seeking something and then you get overwhelmed because you went too extreme and then you withdraw. Go out again, withdraw, go out again, withdraw. So again, when I talk about this stuff, it's about this more integration of the extremes so you can be more fluid. Because again, the extreme is choppy and that really messes up your sense of identity or your nervous system, which leads to overall health. If you're constantly in stress mode and then you rest, it's not healthy either, which is something that most people do in this culture. Do all the extremes. Do not do all the extremes. You're listening to me and you're not listening to me. The opposite of what I'm saying, mister, is do not do all the extremes. Bad. Spray water on you. Bad. No. But the extremes are the fun parts. You know what? You're not wrong. There's an adrenaline rush that comes with it, right? You feel more alive, like more alive, I put in quotation marks. Like there is a lot of correlation to why we do what we do. He sure does have a tendency of being extreme. And like I said with the over-functioning, under-functioning relationship, if one person's more extreme, the energy in the system makes one person less extreme. Me too, but I blame the bipolar. Hey. That's actually a type of swinging, right? It's a type of push-pull pattern. You can start seeing these things everywhere. But that's about like a lot of things related to your neurochemistry too. So that's a lot of things that we can't really always have control over. So it's a little different. So an example would be one is pulling for validation and the other is pushing for space. So conflict or misunderstanding could be something small too, something trivial. Something happens. One's pulling you like, please give me validation. And the other's pushing for space. Like, no, I don't want to talk right now. I'm going to run away. This is too much emotion. I don't like the feeling. Right. And so the other person's like, come back here. They're trying to pull you towards them. It's like, no, I need you when I need you the most and you're leaving me. And so the other person's like, nope, I'm going to leave some more. Thanks to Big Pharma, my neurochemistry is currently broken. Please check back in 30 to 73 business days. Dude, that's a long time. Are you affected by the global supply chain too? Because it's so sad to hear how so many people, specific neurotransmitters and like ADHD meds, can't find them anywhere and people are struggling just to do their daily things. And you can't do anything about that. Like that's your brain. Your brain's not working, One is pulling to talk it out and the another is pushing away. This is, again, I think about, I'm going to throw in gender stereotypes here, but the girl, probably want to talk it out and the guy's pushing away. He's like, no, we're done. I don't want to talk about it right now, kind of thing. No, my doctor and I had a disagreement about how a med transition was going to go. And so all my meds are fucked up. Really? Sorry. I don't for I'm still learning mod stuff. One day I'll figure it out. So like, you know, yell at the the beeps and boops, the computer stuff. So again, there's this gender thing that comes into play. It could be attachment. A lot of things could happen where one person is like, no, we need to talk right now because I need my feelings validated. I need to talk it out because I need connection. And the dude is like, no, we're not doing this. And so you have like, but talk to me. And so like she starts chasing, but let me talk. Let me listen, you know, like that kind of thing. And so the guy's like, got eye rolling, shutting down. So much stuff is going on internally. And so he pushes away because he's overwhelmed too. So it's a dynamic to look out for. So here's a fun thing that I made just for you of opposites attracting, avoidant and anxious attachments. Like, what does push-pull look like? I don't know if you've watched Naruto, but it's like one of my favorite animes, and you know I grew up with it, and so Sasuke got a hold on people. Like people chase him, you know. Push pull is like this. He's this So Naruto is the emotional reactive person, and then obviously Sasuke is the distant reserved person who is just like, really? Yeah, I binge watched it one summer just to finish it. I have this thing where I only want to watch things when they're finished because I have this compulsion to constantly keep track, or like feel like I'm missing out if it's not done. I don't know. I feel weird about. So I like watching completed animes. Anyways, so like there's this, again, the dynamic is extreme. One warm, you know, compassionate, kind, very people-y person, most likely, maybe more emotional intelligence too, is paired with someone who doesn't have much emotional awareness or intelligence, very closed off and just like distant person. And they seem to very commonly get drawn to each other. And it's great because there's quote unquote the balance, but at the same time, there's the dysregulation and the push that happens when one person wants to talk and the other. And so freaking half, maybe the entire anime is Naruto chasing Sasuke, like trying to save him, right? And so this is a push-pull, very unhealthy push-pull dynamic. I always felt like Sasuke was emotionally aware. He just didn't get that I don't care about bad words. Bad words, old lady. Yeah, I'll try and change it later. So he had his reasons. That's the thing too. Like, and that's the thing I want to talk about too. So people who are distant can be emotionally aware. It's just that the intention or the honoring other people's perspectives and wants and needs in a relationship is not as important too. So like the balance of like who is important in this relationship, you're not equal, which makes sense because your needs kind of should be met first. But if the other person doesn't see it in the same way, then you're gonna have this constant chase. So you have him chasing Sasuke for how many years? His entire adolescence, right? Like, that's wild to want to chase someone like that. But again, it's mythological. It's not real, but it's a great illustration of what could happen when it's that, I'm going to say erratic, you know, and extreme. So here isn't that what they call a dude, yeah, a situationship. It is. If people are not clear about what their intentions are for a relationship, it's very much a situationship. One person's like more open-ended. It's like, like I'm chill. Let's just see where it goes. And the other person's like, but I want a relationship. That's an interesting take on it because some people are socialized to not be clear and direct on what they want. And so they'll play, they'll go with the flow, even though what they want actually is a relationship, and they can't really be honest with what their heart actually wants. And so they'll just they'll indirectly hurt themselves by making that decision, right? That's really interesting to think about too, situationships. So I found this. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just thought it was funny. This is a video of 144 times Sakura said Sasuke in Naruto Shippuden. So I'm just going to play a little bit of it. I'm going to stop it because it's a lot. I hope it's not too loud. I don't know. Okay. All right, girl. That's enough. So like, as you can see, she has this. This is hilarious, but for the love of God, the person that made this needs to touch grass. I think she has a thing for like, yep. You think she likes him? I'm not sure. Like, she might like him. She didn't really directly say it. She just says his name a lot. Man, guys, I actually wanted to look up things like that too, but I agree. People like me need to learn to touch grass. Anyways, so that was an illustration of like externally and in an anime what it would look like for someone who's constantly chasing someone who pulls away. So he pushes her away, right? Wait. Yeah, push, pull, push, pull. So he pushes her away. She's pulling towards him, right? Constant. He has his own stuff he's dealing with. Like, he's so tunnel visioned and focused on his goals for revenge and growing and getting stronger that he has his own reasons. So, like, I know he pushes her away also to protect her. That's what I'm thinking. But, like, over a while, it gets warped because he actually he hurts her. You guys, I mean, he fucking kills her, right? Like, I can't with this relationship. First of all, this is a tangent. Naruto did Sakura dirty because it's a shonen and it's about boys and teenage boys and men. So I get it. But they didn't have to make her so freaking weak and like dependent on Sasuke and other people to save her. She's so powerful. She has potential to like destroy mountains and heal large groups of people. I think she's more power than Lady Tsunade. Anyways, just my thoughts on how they do her wrong. Anyways, so like, they've just portrayed her as exceptionally weak, which is something that embodies the toxic pattern of extreme push-pull in certain ways. For someone who has a lower sense of self-esteem, like Sakura, like she couldn't believe that she could fight for most of the freaking anime. I don't know how long it takes for her to like believe that she can do anything, right? To really feel brave and take on a leadership role. Like hundreds. I don't know, what, 400 episodes maybe? 600? Anyways, so like she keeps on appearing as weak, believing that she's weak, and her external validation is like projected onto Sasuke giving her attention. Even though Naruto has always been there for her, you know, like it's this weird dynamic of like, if you don't have this firm boundary and sense of who you are, you're going to chase it and fill your cup of identity and definitions with the things outside of you. And if it's kind of skewed in certain ways, you're going to reaffirm that, oh, this is this one dude that won't give me love and attention. I'm going to chase that. And it's seen as passionate or intense. And I kind of wanted to pair this with, I'm not going to go too much into it because I didn't really research too much about it, but I want to go into like cycles of abuse or the power and control reel. I'll probably do something like that later on, but because of what's happening here, it's a potential dynamic that does happen in extreme relationships where someone has put the potential to abuse or manipulate. And I just wanted to make sure I name it because there's a lot of young people starting to date here on Twitch. It seems like passion and intensity till you realize what you're in the middle of, and then you feel sad and lonely. Yes, it's a lot of emptiness and confusion that can go on when you realize, like, you kind of have like a wake-up call sometimes. You like, your sense of reality shifts a little bit, and then you see the bigger picture. But that does take time, because I know that, you know, it's hard watching people in bad relationships. You feel frustrated for them, and then over time when you tell them like, hey, leave the dude, leave the girl, like, leave them, they're not good for you, because that push-pull dynamic is so severe. They break up, make up, you know, like, it's intense, up and down, there's no middle, right? That's the passion that they think it is, like, because of what we see in media. It's because of what we see on TV, what's shown in like all the famous influencers. A lot of them have the intense push-pull relationship, or they're, you know, doing all these like weird jokes on each other and recording it and you know, posting it for views. It is hyperly over arousing, overwhelming, and intense, and that's what a lot of people are seeing. And so it makes sense that they're redefining, oh, that's what the ideal attention, like the love that I see on the streamers and like all the influencers. They're famous, they're rich and wealthy, and look at all the views. So now they're equating views to value. It's like, what gets the most views? I think that makes most sense. If they get attention and views, that means they're valuable. What is society, you know, honoring and uplifting as important, which is dysfunctional relationships. And so we have the extreme push-pull, and that, again, when you look at the patterns, you can see that, oh, it is about a lot of people learning to find their way. You know, you could have low self-esteem, but damn, is getting views on something you didn't expect anyone to see addictive? Yeah, it is. It really is. Like, it's the surprise, and so that's the dopamine thing for sure. A lot of us are just part of the culture, and we're posting things, we're commenting, we're hoping that someone acknowledges us, you know, like, notice me, senpai. Like, it's a real thing. I like to get attention for certain things, and it's nice when people mirror it back to me. It just feels good. Okay, go ahead, switch your computers. My tea is good today. But this is like, again, the extreme version of, she followed him for their childhood and adolescence. That is like not knowing when to break the curse. The girl with the tea. Thank you. I'm trying to take up space. I just, like, when I think about Sakura's story, I feel so sad for her, because she literally wasted her youth, you know, chasing a guy who kept on calling her annoying. And for whatever his reasons were, you know, I understand. I think a part of it was to protect her, but another part is like, he really did hurt her. Like, it's like mental manipulation, you know? Sometimes I just wish people would tell someone the truth. Just like, stop. Be direct. So if you're not interested, stop. Or the reasons why you're doing something. I need to keep my distance because of the things I'm going through. You know, just be honest. That would be great. But we don't really live in a society. We don't live in a direct society. When I think about the push-pull dynamic, and then I think about, like, I'm going to throw out the term codependent traits. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. So when I think about the push-pull dynamic, I I do feel like one person has maybe an unconscious thought or an agenda, maybe, or some hope and wish. There's a lot of caregiver archetypes that are in their shadow where they want to fix people. It's like you want to date someone not because you feel loved in a certain way, but you, again, misinterpret being needed as being loved. It's like, well, this person obviously is a mess of a person. I can make their life better. So because I'm in it, and because I make it better, I am important. It's not necessarily, it could be any dude, right? You just like put anybody that needs help in the position of relationship, and this person who is a caregiver to the extreme, who might be a little codependent traitsy, will have this mentality. And so I put a clown here. I want people to just like pair this dynamic together, because as you get older, and you realize you can't fix people. You can be there to support people as they empower themselves and grow, right? And you have individual goals, but also couple goals, relationship goals. That's all different. Like if your goal to be to think that you're only loved when you're there to fix people or make someone's life better, it's again a perception of self-value and identity. It's like, who are you if you're not in a relationship then? Like, what do you think your purpose is? And that's a very lonely, scary feeling. When you're alone and you're a fixer, how do you find value and joy in the things that you do outside of being a fixer? Does that make sense? I just think it's something to think about, because like, I'm going to throw in gender stereotypes in here. When we talk about people who are nurses, teachers, caregivers of some sort, helpers, your job is already to help, but I already have a feeling that this want to help goes beyond your job. You want to help so much that it goes to the extreme of wanting to save people. So I didn't put it here, but the shadow of the caregiver archetype is known as the martyr. And I'm already going to have a feeling that you know what I'm talking about when I say, who's the martyr? The martyr in a relationship is like, how dare you not acknowledge what all of the things I've done for you? How dare you not give me attention and praise me for helping you do this, for saving you with this, for teaching you this, for allowing you to do these things. Like, because of me, you're like this, and so it's this incongruence with the motivation for why someone does something. So I'm going to say like, yeah, it does feel good to help people grow and heal in a relationship. At the same time, if you're out for that type of, they blackmail with playing the martyr, and that's something I know you're going to like throw out the narcissist word. Some people do feel like that, and I'm not very familiar with that term, so I'm going to just leave it on the shelf and let other people, the experts, talk about that term. But there is a dynamic that could come into play. Again, codependent people, some traits that you have are codependent, where you're seeking out, you have a radar. So we all have antenna for certain types of people. Some of us who have such a strong sense of external validation may be looking for people that need that extra help. Somehow we just know, like, oh my gosh, I know what this person needs. Let me swoop in and save them. Because if they need me, if they can see that I can help them, I'll be important finally, right? And so it's a slippery slope, because I believe in community. I believe in helping people, but also if you help someone too much, they cannot help themselves too. It's like knowing how to, like, I think about parents too. If you swoop in and save your kids all the time, your kids won't develop any sense of agency or problem-solving skills, autonomy. They will constantly rely on you to fix their problems. And then when they launch as young adults, we have a problem here, right? So it's that again, the leap of faith is also a gap in skills where how can we build and scaffold something for someone where you give them enough skills, help them when possible, but give them enough like a sense of faith and self-esteem that they can do something to grow on their own too. Very complicated, everyone's different, but in relationships with love and support, that belief that someone can grow, it helps so much more than fixing things for them. You could show them how to do stuff, you can give them resources, but it's case by case. It does depend. But I love this clown. Look how cute this is. This is so cute. Like, look at you, be a clown. Look at you thinking you could fix him. I've been there. I get it. It is adorable. So while you're being a clown / Bob the Builder with relationships, you can be cute too. Like, own it. Again, if you own it, no one can take it, like, use it against you. I've owned this stuff. Like, I've messed up. I've, like, been the clown. I thought I could fix people. Yep. I've been a cute clown, too. So that's fine, right? And so you can just use this as a moment to grow and just laugh at yourself, because if you can't laugh at it, it's like, it's just dark and gloomy if you can't laugh at some of this stuff, you know? You can be my cute clown. I am your clown for sure. Thanks, mister. Oh, is that what you like? You like that? I'll put on the green lips and the big red nose for you. Okay. All right. Get a hat. Get the yellow hair. Yellow hair. I'll get a red balloon too. I'll stand very still with the red balloon. I'll stand in front of the gutters. Just for you. That's role playing, right? That's what I heard. That's what I heard that people like doing. You get a yellow raincoat? It's happening. We're doing it. Sorry, Sharaz, you had to witness that. Alrighty. Okay, we're back to our friend, the pendulum of change, because it's super duper important. Kiddos, super important. Again, everything is a type of relationship dynamic, pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. It depends on the frequency. It depends on the intensity. It depends on many things, but most things in life, just like when we said bipolar, it's a push-pull, swinging back and forth. Back and forth. That is just the nature of life, energy change, flow. The thing is, again, if it goes too quickly and too intensely, we have something to look at here where it's too extreme. It's too intense. We need to do something to change the pattern. So when you notice that, we have to think about it. What's the thing missing? What's the thing that's acting as a trigger or the activating event that causes someone to push-pull? Or someone to, redirect all of a sudden. We're having a good time. And now it's like, oh, now there's conflict. Wait a minute, we're not dealing with the conflict? You want to go to the opposite extreme and run away from the conflict. And now someone's chasing the person running away, right? Or they feel rejected. A lot of perceptions of rejection can cause people to want to run away, which is how a lot of people who are neurodivergent, sensitive, will shut down and withdraw. A lot of people who feel misunderstood, it's like, I can't handle this right now. I'm going to go hide in my blanket fort. I'm going to turn off the lights and disappear. But this is the important thing. If other people don't operate the same way, please, it's important in a relationship of trust and support to name your pattern to the people in your life so they understand what's going on, so they don't feel like, what the fuck? Like they just left. I'm trying to talk about something and they freaking just disappeared. They ghosted me, We don't have the same brains. We don't have the same nervous systems. We don't have the same perceptions and intentions with the things that we do or the way we respond to stuff. It's all different. So it's important to name these patterns and just walk it through just in case they change or if you notice something different over time. That's just about respecting the person that you're in a relationship with. any relationship. It's like, I withdraw when this happens. I will try to honor what you like too, but my default is to do this. I'm learning to regulate my nervous system. At the same time, there's a lot of things I don't know about my brain and body. I will try my best to share, but sometimes I might forget because I'm so used to working things on my own, And so it's like, another person could be like, for me, like, well, I like to name what I'm going through and the processes I'm all about processes here. I'm all about patterns. And so I feel more understood and more supported and loved when I get to show this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at on this pattern. So no one can kind of guess. It's not a guessing game of where I'm at, right? And it could be, again, the misunderstanding of what something means. If someone withdraws, it doesn't always mean, what's the term? Neglecting the problem. It could just mean, you know what, I need to reset. I will come back. But these are the things, again, communication-wise, important to discuss with the person that you're talking to. Is like, oh, so you're overwhelmed right now and you're telling me that you value this relationship. Oh, I thought you hate the relationship. I thought you only value the relationship when we're having a good time. These naming the stuff, it really helps because, again, we don't know what's going on in everyone's brain. We only see what we see. But over time, we could start to kind of pick up the nuance and differences of how someone perceives quiet, how someone perceives talking about difficult subjects. Because for me, I like talking about difficult things because it helps me feel more intimately connected with someone. I don't want to talk about difficult things with some person I don't care for. It doesn't really matter, And so it's, again, the meaning and intention behind the things that we do. And lastly, it's like poor coping or not. Some of us just don't know how to cope with these things. And so that's just, you can do it together. Just like the extreme. The extreme is not knowing anything, having no coping skills. We're at the extreme of like shutting down and crying in a blanket fort and freezing on the floor. The opposite extreme is everything's on point, communication all the time, reading the mind of your partner and doing everything you can to communicate what you think they need and want and like checking in with them all the time. That's extreme and it's probably going to like shut you down. I think it's too much. So again, the middle, when you swing back to the middle, is sometimes you forget, sometimes you make mistakes, but overall the intention and the want to better a fluid, calmer intensity type of relationship is there. And that's going to be the game changer for people in a relationship because you're on the same page. Because like the intention for the push-pull was different reasons for withdrawing, different reasons for pushing and pulling. So just want to throw this out there. Hope it's helpful. I'm sure you can think of like past relationships where you have participated in a push-pull or dynamics that you see now. It could be something you are personally doing and or intense push-pull relationships that you see with like that one couple that's always fighting in the friend group. I've seen that and it's exhausting and you're going to be like, okay, they're going to get back together. They're going to break up, but I already know they're going to get back together. So extremes, back and forth, back and forth. It's just, if one day they're ready for the pattern, maybe just like nudge this at them. I think, again, people have to be ready for this information. And so that's part of it too. If you're in defensive mode and you're not ready to hear people's information, you will get even more defensive and do the opposite of what people want for you, which is, oh, you don't think I'm smart enough to make these decisions in a relationship? I'm going to stay with this guy even longer. Like, oh, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do more of this. Like, there's a lot of stubborn people who, when we have the best intentions to help, they end up doing the opposite of what we've wanted them to do. They hold on to the poor decision even longer. So it's important to just like let them be and just be available just in case something goes, poorly. That's, I guess, the best word to say. So the push-pull relational patterns of love and conflict and of people-pleasing can repeat until a shift is acknowledged. This change is difficult and possible safe practicing and repetitions, just like the pendulum swinging back and forth, back and forth. Practice, stop practicing and reset. Practice, stop, and let it integrate. That's all we can do. Practice and practice, back and forth. Pause, let it, integrate into normal, more default. Practice and repair are of utmost importance. We need compassion to try new things and fail safely over and over again. And that's the thing too, like, again, if you feel like negatively towards yourself about quote unquote failing at relationships or not getting this the first few times, you're going to beat yourself up, right? And so I'm just here to remind you, please don't do that. Like, this is hard work, especially if you grew up in a family or were shown very chaotic relationships growing up. Like, most families that I've been around or worked with don't do conflict very well. It's a very healthy and unique situation where I see parents bringing things up to their kids in a way that's transparent. They apologize for making mistakes. Like, it's very hard for adults to apologize to children. And so you're modeling accountability. You're modeling these things like, oh, I made a mistake, I'm so sorry. Like, this is what I did wrong. All these things that we do not always see. Hey, GJ. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff where we didn't grow up seeing this stuff. And especially on TV, it's this like magical ending. All of a sudden, it's happily ever after. We don't get to see like, oh, the guy gets the girl, right? We don't get to see them learning how to live together. We don't get to see them clashing with their wants of how to schedule time, energy, the budget. Like, all these things are important, but it's all make-believe. We don't get to see that stuff. All of a sudden, it's like magic wand, perfect relationship, prince and princess are together and they live happily ever after. That's what we've been fed and limited in viewing in terms of media, films, like, the things that we've been exposed to. And so that on top of our family systems, we don't always get to see how to change in compassionate ways. So if you do want to change, I know you want to. Everybody wants to grow and change, become better people. We're just afraid sometimes because we don't know what it looks like. We haven't been shown people being kind to themselves when they fail. Like, the thing that I see also is you have high achievers. They beat themselves up to the nth degree because they made a mistake somewhere. Or, like, I give presentations, I'll have misspelled things, grammar's poor. I'll just fix it next time. But in the beginning, you either have your colleagues point it out and make fun of you or say something because they have their own issues of projection, or you beat yourself up for doing this stuff because, again, we're not allowed to have good self-esteem in this culture. If you have good self-esteem, there's something wrong with you. Like, you have a big ego. There is a difference between having a strong sense of self and having a big ego, but we don't differentiate between the two. So please nurture your sense of self where you love yourself. Give yourself grace for making mistakes. This is all okay. It's not the end of the world. And if it does feel like the end of the world, there's certain cases where therapy is the space to process it. Like a good fit therapist. And I know that's hard because of the money issue. Again, it's the best investment for some people seeking to grow and heal when it's that intense. I encourage you to seek that therapist who they sound like a good fit. They're trained in certain ways that you feel like, oh, this, my interests are mirrored here. I can learn a lot from them and I can practice falling apart and slowly putting myself back together. And so again, pendulum swing, when you're healing, one part of your identity is over here. And all of a sudden you're learning how to get rid of all this stuff that you don't love about yourself or have to view in a different way. You're swinging. Your perspective of yourself is changing and you go back and forth and up like a spiral. So it's like chaos, but with choice. So all the things that are going with the push-pull relationship is you don't have choice. These things are going on with our life where there's people mistreating you, judging you, saying certain things. Your job is inconsistent. You're not getting paid enough. You don't have health insurance. All these things you cannot control. And the things you can control now is what's the empowering part. So that's where therapy can be very healing. And I'm going to throw in video games because we are on Twitch. That's the choice component too. I know a lot of people play games or immerse themselves in their fandoms because there's the component of choice. Everything's happening outside of us in life where we feel depressed and anxious, out of control, swinging to the extreme of the pendulum. And so we need to re-regulate by having choice in the things that we consume and do, which is gaming, which is our fandoms, which is cosplay, watching a movie over and over again, anime, video games, all these things helps us reset, but it's to the extreme sometimes. So part of I encourage you to heal and grow is to find the middle ground. Where are you going to do the flow of in between? Because extreme is good for some things. It's fun. You get the dopamine and the serotonin, but it's not sustainable. We will crash and most likely do, when it's too extreme. So here's the thing about the spiral of change, right? Hee happy face. Yes, crash. No extremes. So again, if you come back to the same place, you're not, because you're constantly elevating yourself. You're going up and up and up. So it looks like you're kind of circling around the same theme of your life, but you're going more towards up. So you're becoming more wise over time. You're looking at the problem from a bird's eye view because you're becoming more distant from whatever it is that's your theme in life, the multiple themes that shape who you are. So keep on going around more and more and more, just like a video game, constant. So it actually reminds me of Persona, because you keep on going up and up and up the tower. It's the same thing. It's like you think that you're doing the same thing, but you're not, because you become more efficient in how you navigate problems. I was like, I've seen this problem before in a different way. I know how to handle this time. Last time I did it like this time I might do similar, but a little bit different. Again, it's the building the stamina to keep on going. Yeah, you have more experience, insight, knowledge, and skills. You keep elevating yourself. And that also means you just keep going. You do not stop, right? Knowing that it's part of your life, you just go, you rest, and then when you're ready, you keep on going. That is a different perception of a change cycle and change. You don't do something once and then you're done. The fun, I'm going to say fun, not actually fun, but the thing that we're doing with change is we're going again and again and again. It's a joke. It's like a cosmic joke that I call it, but that's literally the thing. It's never ending. But because it's never ending, you kind of get this becomes a joke, but it's also more whimsical of yeah, I know that this theme in life will come again in some shape or form. I will be ready for it, or if I'm not, I'll give myself compassion to face it again when I am ready, because it's a life theme. It'll come back. It's not going anywhere, right? And so that's one thing to see the world differently too. It's if I have a theme, these are my things, my issues, whatever it is, my ways to grow. When I'm ready, I'll do it again. I'll get a mentor, practice, whatever it is you need to do. And the underlying thing is, because these themes are pretty much consistent in our lives and we'll face them in different ways, you will learn to know that you are worthy of respectful, kind, and supportive relationships outside of whatever you do in these relationships. We're just worthy. We're just who we are, and then we're wonderful and we exist. That's the gift. Out of the entire universe, to be born right now and exist right now and have the wants and wishes and be in a chat together or have a relationship or just, cross paths for a moment of time, that's amazing to think about. It's 1 in a billion, right? To have this snippet of time together and talk about this stuff. And you may, go across your lifespan doing your things, and that could be the one time that we cross, but we could cross paths again. It's really neat. I just think it's neat to think about it like that, because it's so cool. It makes me feel all floaty, like I'm a star floating across the universe. But yeah, I think that's it.